what do we do? I'm trying to find the name. What do we do when negative situations arise? Especially that we know about who we are as governmental, legislative, and judicial sons and the ecclesia. I've made most of my major decisions from dreams from the Lord. It's simply, so be it unto you according to your faith. Now you've written, I'm just not using you. A lot of people have written a contract over their own lives by saying, I don't dream. You need to break those contracts. That's an ungodly contract because he created everyone to be a dreamer. And we need to shift that. So be it unto you according to faith. If you believe and you don't dream, well, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to dream. If you shift your mindset, you're going to go into the realm of decree a thing and it shall be established. I am a dreamer. I use the same principle for remembering names. How many of you can't remember names? Well, that's a wrong mindset. You need to stop saying that. You need to stop agreeing with that governmental contract. I begin to decree a thing so that it will be established. I speak to things that are not as though they were. I am a dreamer from the Most High. I can dream with the best of them, and I create that ability to dream through my words. We're a co-creator. What we speak is actually creative, either for darkness or for the light. So that's the first thing. Let me give you a couple scriptures. Acts 2:17 says, in the last days, we've all heard this, when in the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people, sons and daughters, and they will prophesy. Your young men will see visions and your old men will dream dreams. If you're middle-aged, you get both, right? So I don't know. I see them visions and dreams all the time. It doesn't matter so much about the age. I've been dreaming and seeing visions. What I want to begin to talk about is how to use dreams in your governing and in your courtrooms of heaven experience. First of all, how many of you grew up in the prophetic or the apostolic? And we love to say that I had a dream about you and God's going to do this, God's going to do that. And that could be true because there are prophetic dreamers, there are prophets and people with the prophetic anointing. But we made the mistake of not looking within first. And so here's a major scripture that I use to every time I have a dream, I want to look at me first rather than the person that I'm dreaming about, because it's identifying a character in me or a characteristic or something in me that needs to be dealt with. And I'll give you an example here in a minute. Job 33:14-18 says, for God does speak now one way, now another, though no one perceives it, in a dream and a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on people as they slumber in the beds. Verse 16 says, he may speak in their ears and terrify them with warnings. So there's warning dreams. I've had several of those. 17 says to turn them from wrongdoing. That's also a warning dream. And keep them from pride. Oh. And 18 says to preserve them from the pit. Another version says to save them from the pit and their lives from perishing by the sword. Anything that would tend to cause death, whether it's your words, whether it's somebody speaking against you, or it's your mindset, or I just tend to be first, I look at me, inside me, what's going on in my soul, my spirit, my body first. So in fact, I don't even consider nightmares a something from the devil. I believe a nightmare is God exposing an assignment against me that I can deal with in the courtrooms of heaven and governing to remove those negative things that are going, the legal rights that have been set up due to my sins and my iniquities and transgressions that give Satan the legal right to steal, kill, and destroy. And so in the courtrooms of heaven, I can use all these dreams I have as evidence in the courts. I can present a dream, and I present it just like I would. Judge, I present this dream. I give a brief description because he knows all things. I don't have to go in deep detail about it. I present this as evidence of my destiny. And I use that dream, a negative dream, to go into the courts, search me, oh God, and I'll find the legal roots to that where I can deal with it legally in the court so it won't happen again. And so I had this recurring dream of me with a woman. It was a different woman each time. And I thought this was either a wife or a girlfriend. Setting was always different. And it always went into a place where she was suddenly gone. I couldn't find her. But I thought, and a lot of times I thought, well, this is my future wife. I was like so afraid of that happening again that, I said, I'm good being single. It's all right. I'm just happy this way. I'll avoid all the problems. But it kept happening and happening and happening. All of a sudden, I began to look inside of me. What's going on here? What's the real truth behind these recurring dreams? And he said there's insecurities, fear of entering into a relationship, different things. And when I finally realized it was about me, that woman that I was afraid of, that fear was in my own heart of losing somebody else again and again and again, that there was this rejection in there that was major part of my deliverance. And there was also some things that was all about me that I had to deal with in the courts to be free. Now I'm free from it. I've never had that dream again. But it was several years that happened. And now, I feel like, I'm still okay being single, but I just think if we're, a lot of people are in a bad relationship, I'll never do that again. But that's not me. I'm going, if the Lord wants a relationship, I'm all for it. I'm happy being single. I'm not lonely. So I'm doing good, but that would just be the icing on the cake if there was a relationship that he allowed and not coming from my own hurt or painting or codependency and stuff like that. So he set me free from all that. But in the courtrooms of heaven, I use that as finding or identifying the legal issues standing against me that would keep me from entering into his destiny for my life. But it also provides not only evidence in the courts of heaven in the case of your destiny. In fact, it's the dreams in my life is why I created the Enoch Flight School. Dreams of flying that were progressive all the way through my whole entire life. I've been having flying dreams all through, and from different stages of being in bondage, being in a prison, to places where I could freely fly at will. And then the last one, that right before I set up Enoch Flight School, was I was flying with a bunch of people over a high above a prison wall, above the trees. And it was like, this place doesn't have any control over me. I'm not in prison anymore. I'm flying above it in the heavenlies. And this crowd of people was with me, but I looked down on the ground and there was this woman that I sensed in the dream that she wanted to fly too. And so what I did was I just reached down and grabbed her by the wrist, pulled her up. She was light as a feather and she was flying with us, but she was stiff as a board. And I just spoke to her. I said, relax and just flow with the spirit, flow with the wind. And she did. And she was flying with the rest of us, just like she's been doing it all her life. And so that's what launched the Enoch Flight School. And so I use that as testimony, and to testify, I submit this dream as part of my destiny to create Enoch Flight School. Looking for the timing and the proper design for that, and the protocol and the blueprint for doing all that. And I got to go ahead in the courts to do so. So a dream can be disclosing your destiny scrolls, and you can also use those in a court situation to govern or present that as evidence. There's so many things that I've had in the dream that I do in the dream realm, things I can't do in the natural realm yet. So the dream realm is my true divine nature, and this natural realm is my natural human nature. And one of these things, why I changed the name from Courtrooms of Heaven Mentor Group to the Convergence Interactive, all that is going to converge together where we're able to do that and fly and whatever, all the works that Jesus did, be as he is, so am I in this world. We're going to be able to do that in the natural realm, not just in the spirit realm. I'll be with you in spirit. We'll be able to do that, spirit, soul, and body. We'll be able to transport, supernaturally. And so I really believe that dreams are powerful. And when you begin to be in agreement that he is the giver of dreams, his interpreter of dreams, and you'll begin to see that from a place of rest, that when you see a dream that is a warning or a something that turns or that's revealing a wrongdoing or pride in your life, you'll have the attitude everything is eternal. Everything is wrapped in eternal purpose and divine destiny. And it'll give you a peace to rest in governing over that rather than getting in fear and allowing the enemy to come in on top of that fear to cause you to spiral down and get depressed and fear and all that stuff. We're not intended to live in fear. We're intended to live in powerful, overcoming life. And one is a governmental, legislative, and judicial son. And so he's leading us into the place of, as he is, so are we in this world, in a full measure. When is that supposed to happen? Right now. Right now. By so be it unto you according to your faith. And so when I have difficult situations, I'm using the dreams I have, I'm using the visions. Everything in my life is designed to reveal or reveal your destiny, or it's divine to reveal assignments against me. That's why Psalms 139 is my favorite prayer. Search me, O God, know my heart, try me in the courts, put me on trial, put me on the stand in the courts of heaven. See if there's any wicked way in me and lead me in the way everlasting. When you start doing that, he's going to reveal stuff to you. And many times it'll be in dreams, it'll vision. Every part of your life, everything in your life will become a filled with divine purpose, where you begin to recognize where, okay, God, you're speaking to me, even through a bluebird or something like that. Everything is significant. Absolutely everything in our life is significant. It's all designed from a heavenly blueprint that was written before the foundation of the world that you agreed to. I don't know why you would agree to something negative, but everything has divine purpose. And when you begin to see those things like that, okay, what do I need to be delivered from? Maybe it's pride, maybe it's my wrongdoing. Maybe it's a warning dream. Maybe it's to save me from the pit and perishing by the sword. But maybe it's also can be exposing our divine destiny of who we really are, so we can remove that human nature layer after layer after layer after layer, so that we perfectly walk in that present tense statement, as he is, so am I in this world. truth of this, we'll look at difficult situations in a different way.